Family, welcome to How Love Works, where we talk about the principles for lasting love. Well, I know it's been a while since we've had an opportunity to get together. Uh, I'm still dealing with the issue of manhood matters, and I want to continue that theme. But today I want to do something that kind of coincides with what, once again, I continue to deal with. That's part of the 10 issues that I want to be going over this period of time that we're going to be dealing with manhood matters. I want to talk to you guys today about black men in general relative to why is it that black men today still are facing economic challenges in America. Why is it today that black men are still facing economic challenges today in America? Well, it takes me back to my childhood. I think I want to share a story with you that I learned. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time, of course, growing up in the city of Detroit, and I had an opportunity to go back to where most of my family originated from, and most of them all originated from the state of Arkansas. And so we lived in my mother at least, she lived in a small town in West Helena, Arkansas. And my grandfather, who is still alive today, he's 101 years old. He imparted into my life a lot of great information and wisdom. And what I want to do today is to share some of that information regarding this issue concerning financial viability for African American men today. I recognize today that there are a lot of African American men who do not have the benefits that I had. I had a benefit of not necessarily growing up with my father, but I knew my father. I spent time with my father. And I also had an opportunity to grow up and spend time with both my maternal grandfather and my paternal grandfather. So I was blessed extremely in those two areas. And I think that the information that my 101-year-old grandfather imparted to me through observation as well as through oral words that he discussed so many great topics that time is just not available for me to go through most of all the information that he's given me. But regarding the issue that we are going to be discussing right now, what I want to share with you, I think shed some light on what you can or cannot be doing. Because I have been, in all my 50 plus years of living, I have benefited tremendously from the information that my grandfather imparted to me, as well as the observations that I've gleaned and learned from looking and mimicking what my grandfather did. And he modeled what manhood is to me to this day. First of all, one of the very first things that my grandfather helped me to understand, because of his understanding of the way the American system worked, my grandfather told me that it was very rare in his day to run into a black man who did not have or who wasn't at least trained in 3 industries. That's what we are calling it today, 3 industries. In other words, in his day, most of what a black man was capable of doing, whatever the system would allow, did a lot of manual labor. However, there were some men who were able to do other things because they were able to benefit from further education, because there were African American colleges at that time that were training black men to do different things. And basically understanding our history, we also understand that there are black men who contributed much in our society. But to my point, my grandfather not only understood farming, but he also understood industry. And so I would say today, in order for a black man to be successful financially, I don't mean like Michael Jordan successful, or Magic Johnson successful, or Michael Jackson. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being able to take care of his basic needs, being able to retire reasonably well, being able to take care of his obligations to the family that he established, all of those things. Okay, so what my understanding was from my grandfather, what I did is I learned 3 industries. I was able to get licensed in these 3 industries, and so I never really experienced a lot of the issues that a lot of black men experience. And I never, I did take some college, and I did go to college for a little while, but I never completed college. But as I've always said, I am a perpetual learner. I will continue to be. I've always had a love affair with the word, and I've always had a love affair with learning. So one thing I was able to do is I learned financial services industry. I'm licensed in that industry, and I always thought that that was a very important industry to be familiar with, to be able to understand. So I'm licensed as an insurance individual in that industry, and so it has been helpful to me, and I have earned some income in that industry, as it were. So I've also went and have been trained in the medical industry, at cardiovascular technology to be specific, and I've also been trained in the transportation industry. Now, it's my understanding that in order to take advantage of these industries, what you want to be able to do is you don't want to just get into any industry just so you can say, okay, I'm qualified in these 3 particular industries. What you want to do in order to take full advantage of this strategy or formula, you want to make sure that you're getting into an industry that actually needs your skill set. And you also want to get into an industry that will most likely never get to a point of saturation. Transportation industry is one of those industries. The medical industry is one of those industries. The financial industry is one of those industries. That's why I selected them, because I can make money in any one of those industries. It doesn't make any difference what color I am. I can get paid, and I have been able to get paid. I made an enormous amount of money in those 3 industries over my period of time, and I continue to do so. Okay, that's one of the strategies that my grandfather taught me. The second strategy that he taught me was that partnership was very important, especially growing up during the time he grew up. Partnership in terms of marrying, because if a man was able to obtain a like-minded partner, as I said earlier, it's a lot easier for a man to achieve his goals. It's a lot faster. You can make that move. You know, it's one thing to do it by yourself, and some men prefer that, and I don't have an issue with that if that's what you want to do. But if you can find a like-minded partner, I mean, you can put your, I like to call it, resource acquisition system into overdrive. You can really move a lot faster. Okay, so I was capable and willing to look for a partner, and I used the filtering system, as it were, to make sure that I would not fall into some of the traps that a lot of brothers fall into. And I knew what I was looking for, and I knew what I wasn't going to deal with. I was looking for a woman that was a real Christian woman, not some woman who just go to church, you know, on Sunday. She played a church game on Sunday, but during the rest of the 6 days of the week, she acting just like all the other pagans. No, I didn't want to deal with that. You know, I knew the difference between what was real and what was fake when it came to spirituality. All right. I was looking for a real feminine woman. I found that. A woman that enjoys taking care of herself. Not some woman who is just a hypergamous woman. Some woman that's out there trying to get what she can get. And then if she finds another man with greater resources, she's jumping like a leapfrog from one man to the next man to the next man. I didn't want to play that game. I grew up in Detroit City. I seen a lot of hypergamous women. I didn't want to deal with that. Okay, I knew what these women were like. I didn't have no beef with them. If that's where you want to roll, fine. Who am I to judge? I just knew what I wasn't going to deal with. And that was one of them. Okay, that's number two. That's the second part of this formula that my grandfather taught me. And I utilize that to my greatest extent. I really got a lot of benefit out of that because life has really been good over these last 36 years with the woman of my life. And my prayer is that it will continue to enjoy going forward with the rest of my life with the woman of my life. And she is the love of my life. Okay. The third thing my grandfather taught me was self-employment. Remember, I told you that my grandfather was a farmer. That was his farm. He made money with that farm. Okay, now, of course, I have a business as well. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not going to bring it up. I do have a business. I've had it for 20 years. I bought a franchise once I left the United States Navy, and I've maintained this franchise ever since. And it has been able to give me the lifestyle that I have today. But in order to be able to use what I call it like a cash flow chemistry system, it's you have to put all three of these things together. And you don't need a degree to do what I just said. But you do have to be able to have a work ethic. You have to decide what you want. You need to determine what you are skilled in. Okay, and if you do those three things, I'm self-employed. I have a JOB, if you will, but I also have a franchise that I work, and it's been, as I said, it's been able to provide me the additional income that I've desired in order to have the lifestyle that I want. And having the partner that I have, it's been making my life great. And at the same time, I'm qualified to work in any of the three industries that I mentioned earlier. Those three primary areas that my grandfather shared with me made it possible for me to have the life that I have. I passed this information to my own son because I only have one. I passed this information to my son-in-law. And now I pass this information to you. Now I will tell you this, that it's not necessarily that cut and dry. You have to be able to use this in a strategy format. You have to understand what are the best industries to put together to make sure that you will always be employed if you want to be. You will always be able to make a decent income, and what I mean by decent, $50,000 to $100,000 a year without a degree. It's not a problem. $50,000 to $100,000 or more a year if you follow that strategy. Okay? Now, if you don't want to do what I've suggested, and you want to be broke, and you want guaranteed poverty, these are the 7 things you just need to do. You do these 7 things, you can guarantee you'll be broke. I've seen this my whole time living in Detroit. I see it in every city I've ever visited, and I've been all over the world, and I've been into just about every state in the union. And it doesn't matter what color you are. If you practice these 7 things, you're guaranteed to be broke. Guaranteed. Okay, number 1, don't finish high school. That's all you got to do. Just drop out. Don't finish high school. You're going to be guaranteed. You're going to be broke. Or you're going to be at least dependent. I don't know. For a man, that's just not something I want to do. Number 2, have as many babies as you want. Go out there and impregnate the world if you want. That's guaranteed. You're going to be broke. Guaranteed. All right. Number 3, don't get a job. And if you do, don't keep one. Just go from job to job to job. Because you never learn how to maintain. You never learn how to work. You never develop a work ethic. You have to have one. You're not going to make it if you don't. So don't get a job. And if you do get one, don't keep one. You'll stay broke, right? Number 3, pursue negative influences and negative voices. And the Bible likes to use a phrase, I think it's found in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, bad company corrupts good morals. Surround yourself with the worst kind of people. Ignorant, broke people will keep you ignorant and broke. That's all you gotta do if you want to be broke and impoverished in America. All right? Number 5, pursue with everything in you the legal system. Try to get into the legal system. I believe I read an article that there is just as many men in the legal system today as it was, I think it went in 1860 when we were enslaved. It's just as many or more. Okay? Just follow that system. Just try to do everything you can to get into the legal system. It's pretty much a wrap after that. Okay? Number 6, don't resist temptation. Don't resist temptation. You know, going out and stealing, going out and thugging, going out just partying, hanging out all night. Don't resist that. Go do it. Go do you. Do everything you can to enjoy your life. Don't grow. Don't learn. Don't do anything. Do that. That'll work for you. All right. And number 7, don't resist the desire to cultivate a victim mentality. You can't make it in America. America is the worst place in the world. You're a black man. You're a victim. You have to deal with systemic racism no matter what you do. You can only go so far. You have no degree. You can't make it. No one will ever take you seriously. If you want to believe that, go ahead. Go ahead. You can do it. Because whatever you believe, that's what you're going to get. So if you want to be broke, do those 7 things. If you want to thrive in this life, do what my grandfather said. That is what I want to share with you today. I thank you for your time. That's mine. I see you on the other side. God bless you.